Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the ending of episode 4. I will be talking about some Anakin stuff near the end of this video, and basically some new theories as to how I think he's appearing to Ahsoka. But first, I want to address what I think a lot of fans are getting wrong about how Ahsoka's in the world between worlds. So the first thing to note is that when she lost to Balin, and when she fell off the cliff on Cetos, I don't think she died. You don't have to be dead to enter the world between worlds, as we saw in Star Wars Rebels. This has a lot of us making the assumption that Cetos itself might be a vergence in the Force and a pathway to the world between worlds. There is some kind of connection which makes sense why Morgan Elsbeth and our villains set off from the Eye of Sion on that planet. Also keep in mind, even if she were to die, the living essence of the daughter resides within her. We'll talk about this more later in the video, but I think fans are missing the point. Whether you think Ahsoka is dead or alive, what she's doing right now in the world between worlds, seeing Anakin, and all of the visions that she's about to experience, at least according to the rumours and the leaks, are going to serve a higher purpose, notably teaching her a valuable lesson about her own place in the Force. Leaks aside, which I won't get into in this video, I understand not everyone wants to be spoiled. There is unused concept art from Star Wars Rebels that suggests that we're going to see Ahsoka guided by Morai in the world between worlds through her past with Anakin and the journey she took, as well as what could have been. It's fundamentally a teaching moment, and this is what we need to understand. So we're having the wrong conversations because for Dave, this is a truly symbolic moment. So at the end of the episode, we hear Anakin say, "Hello Snips, I didn't expect to see you so soon," before Ahsoka turns around, and she is both shocked and delighted as the screen cuts to black, and we hear part of Darth Vader's theme, the Imperial March by John Williams, but it's only part of it. This is key. This figure is not Anakin's Force ghost. He doesn't have the robes from the end of Return of the Jedi, and he still has his mechanical arm, which he does not possess as a Force ghost since his limbs were restored at the point of death. His scar is diminished, and he's in his Revenge of the Sith gear, but I do theorize we will see Anakin's real Force ghost at the end of episode 8 in the season finale. Anakin will appear to Ahsoka when she comes back, but for now, this entity is something else, which some chalk up to the de-aging process, but I think this is deliberate to give us a feeling of unease. We as the audience, but more importantly Ahsoka herself, is being deceived by this harmony-inducing, diaphanous, shiny embodiment of her former master. Just before he turned to the dark side, this is Anakin, pretty much around the same time as the scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan says, "Goodbye old friend, may the Force be with you." But as I say, I don't think this is literally Anakin. Some say this might be the Son, one of the Mortis gods. The Son was a malevolent and destructive force, often seeking to bring chaos and darkness to the galaxy. His eternal struggle against the daughter was displayed in the Clone Wars. And keep in mind that in Season 3 on Mortis, Ahsoka actually dies, but is revived by having the life essence of the daughter transferred into her. As part of this process, the life force of the daughter forever resides in Ahsoka, and the spirit form of the daughter, Morai, is often seen following Ahsoka throughout Rebels, and once in The Mandalorian Season 2 as well, as a convor bird. And some fans have been wondering, since Morai is so central to Ahsoka's presence, why has she not manifested thus far? Well, if they do decide to go the route of the Ones, then this could be where the convor appears. And remember that the Mortis mural with the gods on them is what unlocked the world between worlds in Star Wars Rebels. So this is definitely a possibility, that this embodiment of Anakin is actually the Son. Others have posited this could be some other manifestation of the dark side, maybe even the life essence of the dead Emperor Palpatine returned from a different portal, luring Ahsoka for his own purposes. But I believe all of these theories are probably wrong. We've come to learn that most of the time, the answer is probably simpler than we think. It's not as deep as we're making it. And if they were going to go the route of the Ones, the gods of Mortis, they would have to explain that to casuals in a very palpable way. So here is my theory. I think the Force has given Ahsoka something she needs. It could be a projection of her own psyche. This Anakin is just before he turns to the dark side. It's Anakin as she last remembers him. And hearing Vader's theme knowing he was just about to turn to the dark side is the trepidation she feels and the guilt she feels that he did turn, and a manifestation of her own insecurities, her fears and regrets over leaving Anakin and the Jedi Order. We saw a similar struggle in Star Wars Rebels. At the Lothal Temple, she hears Anakin say, "Do you know what I've become?" But even that was not really Anakin. Whatever lies behind it is going to guide Ahsoka through a past with Anakin, probably through the Clone Wars, and show her what could have been. If some of those early rumours and leaks are to be believed, then we're going to see what would have happened if Ahsoka travelled to Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan at the end of episode 3. It's a teaching moment. I believe Ahsoka's lesson is that she was not to blame for Anakin's fall. She clearly knows Luke, so does she yet know that Anakin was redeemed at the end? Now this might sound crazy, but what if it's not the world between worlds? It does bear visual similarities to the animated version of this plane, but what if the ocean on the planet of Cetos itself is a force portal of some sorts that we've not yet explored? Now Anakin would have turned to the dark side with or without Ahsoka, but in her own head, she probably doesn't know this, and wonders if she could have stopped him. How would that conversation have gone down? Well, I think that's what Dave Filoni wants to explore with this world between worlds stuff. In case you're not aware, there is an unfinished Clone Wars episode where Anakin expresses his anger and dismay at Ahsoka leaving when talking to Obi-Wan in the Utapau system. It is touching and highly emotional. After his interaction with Padme, which went horribly wrong, would Ahsoka have had success in bringing him back to the light, bringing him back to his senses, rather than what Obi-Wan did in expressing his allegiance to democracy and the Republic, which is not what Anakin wanted to hear. Ahsoka could have opened his eyes to what he did at the Jedi Temple to younglings. She could have reminded him that once upon a time she was one of those. When he took her under his wing, she was very young as well. I believe that is what's going to be explored by Dave Filoni in the next episode. This entire sequence is a catalyst to Ahsoka letting go and moving on, putting the past behind her, because in her duel against Baylan, she didn't want to talk about it. So whether or not this Anakin is real depends on your point of view, but it could just be a false mirror or reflection at something from a past that eats away at her, and also maybe her own fears of turning to the dark. You can't for a second conceive that this didn't cross her mind. But also remember that the world between worlds is more of a pause button, so Anakin could exist in some independent form as himself, but not his Force ghost, stuck between time and space in one moment of millions. And look, I get some fans think it's to do with time travel or multiverses, but it's not. But you cannot blame fans for thinking this because at the end of the day, they've still not given us too much information of how it works. It is deliberately a mystery. What do you guys think? And what do you make of my theories? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and if you want some early leaks for episode 5, I have posted them on my Patreon page. The link is down there in the description. But until the next one, guys, may the Force be with you, always.